Ooh, maybe not. Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. My body's breaking down, but I'm good.
Yeah, that was a nice little deep back bend that you just had.
That's a little limbo.
Yeah,
a little limbo, but yeah, my shoulder's pretty much done. I think I woke up and for no reason my wrist and thumb on my left side hurt. Let's flip it around. Thank you.
I got you. I can see inside.
Obviously, my brain's going as well because I can't tell left and right.
Yep. They got letters inside the ear holes.
They do. These are nice. I like these.
Yeah, real ni's headphones, man.
Yeah, I like these headphones. Yeah, I like yours too.
Yeah, appreciate that. They look almost identical. Sorry, we're a day late. Normally we do this on Wednesday, but I was out of town, a little extra than normal, and had a fella riding with me, so couldn't do it last night. We couldn't even do Zoom. So here we are Thursday, which means this is not going to make it out before Thursday night football. So I guess we'll just skip football for this weekend. Most people already have all their stuff in. Although, you know what we did not do last week?
Yeah,
we did not do our football picks.
You're right.
You know what? I think it's time to bring it back, don't you?
We'll do it.
We need to do it. Start week 2.
Okay.
This was not planned.
No.
We had pre-show meeting. This was not planned.
And that means you know how hard this is going to be.
This is so much better. This is so great. I'm pretty sure I had you beat before we going into the second to last week. You couldn't come back, maybe.
Yeah, you destroyed me.
Yeah. So we'll do our picks, our NFL picks this week. Locks of the week, if you will, against the spread from the ESPN app. This is Thursday night. Remember, if you're listening to this Friday or Saturday, this is Thursday night. We're picking these, so the spread could possibly change, and that could mean a little something to your wager.
Yeah.
So be careful. All right, so we'll get into that. We'll do that a little bit later in the show. We've got Canelo and Triple G set up for the third fight.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that. I've got things to say about that.
I can't wait.
Nate Diaz may have fought his last fight in the UFC, and the way that it all went down, it kind of seemed like it probably was. The way the post fight and a lot of the talk. I mean, it was his last contract fight for sure under the current contract that he has. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Sometimes I don't know what goes on in this studio, but we can't. There are times where our headphones go in and out because of something crazy. So it goofs up the whole way I talk. So it probably sounds like I'm stuttering right now, but it's really just because I can't hear myself.
No big deal. No big deal. We've got look, we don't have a whole staff here.
Yeah, dude, this is produced and edited and everything by Adam and Chris. So that's it. All right, so let's get started into this thing. You know what we like to do first? We like to start this thing out with some candy. We've got the Reese segment to start this thing off. This week, Adam has Reese's. It's in a bag. I can tell it's a bag, which means this is going to be a podcast long snack, which is so awesome. I'm excited. So Adam, this week, what is our Reese's adventure?
Last week we had a bag and it was the Reese's covered pretzels, the chocolate and peanut butter covered pretzels. This is sort of similar, but a little different.
Okay. I like that.
This is the popped snack mix.
Whoa. This has got those Reese minis that we've had before.
Yep.
It looks like it's got a chocolate drizzled popcorn and then your everyday pretzel.
That's what it looks like.
All right, man. This is exciting. While we get into this and we dig into these bags of Reese's popped snack mix, I've never seen this before, just so you know. Oh, Adam went for the rip. Adam went for I noticed that it had a tear at the top corner, to do the corner rip on this. But when I get a snack like this, I like the big bag open. So I went opposite and went for the middle center pull open of the top. You went for what they gave you, which is total Adam Schmidt move, going with exactly what the directions are. and you just ripped your bag completely apart and just everything is all over the floor. Don't eat anything off this floor.
Oh, I never would. I wouldn't eat anything off of my floor.
I
Never.
100% will eat those, but you
No.
will not.
No, don't eat those. As a matter of fact, there they go in the bag. Perfect.
He's scared that I'll reach over there and get them.
Yeah, do not eat those. All right. So I had a pretzel. The pretzel is boring because it's a regular pretzel. I don't know why you don't put the chocolate covering, the Reese's chocolate or peanut butter on the pretzel.
I agree. You know, if you're putting the already Reese's material of the mini in this, why not do the already used pretzel that they have? But that's okay. Here's how I'm going to do this to start. Okay. I'm going to take a mini, a pretzel, and I'm going to take a popcorn all in one snooze.
I think that's the right way.
Yeah.
All in one snooze. All right. If you don't know what a snooze is, that's because it's not anything.
You just got to look it up.
Yeah.
All right. First impression.
Well, what I've done so far is had the pretzel, the popcorn, and the mini separately. So you're doing it the right way, I think, in order to judge this thing. So now I'm going to do what you just did and then tell you what I think about that.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I went ahead and threw all three down.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to score right now. I'm ready to score. I'm going 5-9.
I mean,
5-9. I've never been a individually, it's a good pretzel. Individually, it's really good popcorn. Individually, it's a great mini. I've never been a combo like a what do they call that? A trail mix kind of guy. Like, don't put my peanuts in with my M&Ms and like a raisin. I don't want your trail mix. That's disgusting in all shapes, forms, and everything. Don't want trail mix. Won't eat it. Love nuts. Love peanuts. Love nuts. That's funny. Love peanuts. Love M&Ms. Can't stand any kind of
there's our title.
Yeah, dried fruits. Can't stand any dried fruits. And that's probably the reason I don't like any kind of trail mix at all. But I mean, I'm going. I'll say 6-8. Actually, I'll go 6-8. It wasn't that bad. 6-8. I would never buy this.
6-8 for Chris. I just did the same thing you did and put the combo in. I got to tell you, I like the combo a heck of a lot better than the individual.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to go with a 7-9.
Okay.
Those are both the lowest scores we've ever given anything.
100% lowest scores.
Yeah. Not bad, but
if you're a mixer kind of guy, this is good. The popcorn's phenomenal. It's a really good popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
It's a white cheddar popcorn with a little caramel drizzle and a little chocolate over top. It's a really good popcorn.
Mm-hmm. I just did pretzel and mini together. That's not too bad.
That's good. That's a good move. So I gotta tell you, traveling around this week, while we eat some of this, before we get into the sports side of this, you can either fast forward if you want to listen to what we have to say about the other stuff, or you can listen to this. So I'm driving around today. And so for work, I sell, and we're in we sell lumber as a wholesaler. So I sell to a lot of different places. I've got new territory. If you listen to podcasts, I'm always out of town somewhere, either in West Virginia or Columbus or, Dayton or somewhere. So going into Toledo now. Okay. About a little more than 3 hours away. Go halfway up into Lima. Stayed over in Lima last night. Did a little fishing. That's my new thing now. Going fishing at the end of the day.
I love that.
Yep. Caught the smallest bass that's ever been caught ever. It was smaller than my hand.
Goldfish bass.
I think it just ran into my hook as a little baby. So anyway, got that, did that, woke up, started driving. Go from Lima to Toledo, start heading back south. We got there's a lumber yard I haven't been to yet, right? It's new territory. I'm like, you know what? I got this place on here. got a guy driving with me. I was like, let's check this out. Most lumber yards I go into are like 84 lumber, places like that. So most lumber yards are multiple employees, guys driving forklifts, lumber everywhere. So I find this place on the map. And we almost drove by it because it looked like someone's house with a barn on the side with a sign out front. And I looked
That
at
says we have 2x4s.
I looked at him and I looked at the guy in the car with me and I said, Bub, is it worth it? Should we stop? What do you think? He said, we drove this far. You never know what can come out. This could be a phenomenal yard for us. We have no idea.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
American Pickers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yep. This guy, yeah, they'd have fun here. So we get here, stop, pull in the parking lot. And before we get out, guy driving with me looks at me and he goes, we're going to be in here for half an hour. There's one car in the parking lot, which means there's only one person working in this yard.
Half an hour is a long time.
Half an hour is a long time for this kind of stop we're about to make.
Wow.
I'm at a lot of places for hours sometimes, but this guy's gonna. He already knew this guy's gonna. We start talking to this guy, he's not gonna stop
Because he doesn't get a lot of visitors, huh?
Walk in, dogs barking right at the front door. Dog barking.
I leave right away.
Yeah. Guy comes out. Eye sewn shut. Bell's palsy on the one side of his face.
Whoa.
Okay. Bell's palsy on the side of his face. And so he didn't know that he had to put some goop in his eye because he couldn't blink. So they had to sew his eye shut because he basically dried his whole eye out. This dude did not stop talking to us. Okay. Walk into this place. He's got paperwork from 1948. Just land. This stuff is stacked. He had a bunk of OSB. That's about it in this shed. Everything else is just garbage stacked everywhere. And he's just staying around. He did not stop talking to us. He told us all about how he got Bell's palsy. Listen to this. I don't know how to deal with this as in the position that I'm in. Okay. When you are faced, I don't get faced with this often. Sometimes there's some little, remarks. And, I don't, you just kind of blow them off or you're like, you give them the look of, you give the, with the little side head. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, it's, you tilt your head to the side and kind of squint and grimace. Like, I don't agree with what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, I don't want to come right out and say that and start a whole thing.
Right. And exactly. And I'm in the middle of nowhere. And just farmland, farm, house that is apparently a lumberyard. So apparently most of the time when you get Bell's palsy, it comes from some kind of viral thing or something. Like if you got some kind of virus, you may end up with Bell's palsy. It attacks nerves or something. I didn't know that. This guy definitely gave us, Dr. Roger let us know. So this guy pinned his head underneath some farm equipment that he was working on. And so I guess he goes to the hospital and the next day he ends up with this Bell's palsy. So I said, man, how long ago was this? Because I've heard people with Bell's palsy, right? Within a couple, 2 to 3 weeks, it usually heals back and comes back. But if it doesn't, then you're like stuck that way, right? They're like, yeah, you got a few weeks and it'll slowly get better and you'll be able to, get feeling back over there and be able to start moving your lip and your face and all that. Mm-hmm. He says, it's been a couple months, but it's getting better. I'm looking at this dude's face. Your eyes sewn shut because you can't move it and your mouth only works on one side. It ain't getting any better, bro. You're done. You're locked up. So sad.
No,
sad. I hate to see that. First off, this guy's a character. So I said, how long ago was it? Is in the middle of June, that holiday that never was around when we were kids that they just made up all of a sudden.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, oh boy, exactly. Oh boy is right. And I'm looking at this guy and I look at the sales manager guy that's with me. And he kind of looks at me, and we both kind of raise our eyebrows like, oh, this guy can't see us because his eyes are shut. So he's got no idea what I'm doing because I'm on the bad eye side. Big G's on the good eye side. So I can kind of make a few more faces than he can because he can't see me because that eye's sewn shut. You know, all us white boys got to keep working.
Oh, for God's sake.
Adam, in this situation, is this a situation where, see, I feel like a righteous man would step up and say, sir, I don't know what you would say, to be honest with you, but, you know, hey, that's a completely racist remark. I don't appreciate it. I'm not comfortable with that, blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. That's what Karen would say immediately. I'm not, I didn't do that. You know, if you guys all want to get on me, I might be canceled now because I didn't stand up for what I believe in. You know. Adam, in this case, what does a brother do? What does a fellow like you do in a case like that? Do you laugh? Do you brush it off like maybe nothing happened and just continue on a different conversation? Because if you laugh, then you're giving in to this guy, right? If you make a giggle of any kind, you're letting this guy know, oh, I've got a fellow racist with me.
The hard thing about that is, for me, I laugh when I get nervous. Mm-hmm. So I've gotten myself in trouble a few times by laughing in tense situations. Mm-hmm. I might do that because of that. And because I'm nervous and I don't know what to do with that. I think I would just kind of like try to move on from it. I'd maybe give the
us white boys, sir, had to work to the exact words.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't ever remember that being anything back in the day. Apparently, it's been around for a long time.
Oh,
yeah, it's been around.
Talking about Juneteenth?
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. They just really pushed it to become a national holiday or whatever, you know, a day off for the federal workers and all that stuff a couple years ago. So then it became more prominent, more well known because of all the race relations and everything we've had going on, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. I mean, part of me is like, yeah, I don't remember that being anything either. I didn't even know anything about it. Didn't even know the date. Couldn't told you when Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves and all that. So couldn't tell you that to save my life.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't
not what it was.
I think it was when the news actually reached people. So like, the Emancipation Proclamation happened, and then it was like months and months after that, like they were trying to like hide it.
Oh crap! How do we do?
From everybody?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So the word didn't even get to the people who are now free, and I think that's what it is until then.
Okay,
something like that. So.
Well, this is the beginning of the podcast. We might get some comments this week.
Maybe. But yeah, so what did you do?
I was on the bad eye side. So I grimaced and went, whew. And I may have even said, whew, like that. I said, well, I had to work too. And then I started talking about asking him do you guys stock any cedar or redwood? And that was an immediate no. And then he went back into telling us about how he got Bell's palsy and he was trapped and he had to get life flight, airlifted out of the place as he was trapped underneath well, you're probably trapped under there. A little bit of karma might have been involved.
Is the man sounds like does the man work there by himself?
Oh yeah. There's no one else that works in that place.
First of all, dangerous to work all by yourself and doing something like that. Obviously, you're working with farm equipment all by yourself there. Sure, I guess you have to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what you do, you do. But that's tough, man. To work by yourself.
Old Bell's palsy with Roger. I'll never forget that man as long as I live. One eye sewn shut. One eye sewn shut.
Man. That's tough on the old boy.
That's all I got. It wasn't that great of a story, but that's all I got while we're eating Reese's.
That's tough to, man. Yeah, I don't know exactly what I would do. I sure would be nervous about it. Mm-hmm. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So while we continue to eat these things, because I haven't stopped, I want to start into the sports part of this thing because last week we didn't mention this yet, and then I was thinking we should probably mention it, and then after yesterday or today or whatever, I'm like, we have to talk about this now because two of the greatest tennis players of all time have retired within a week or two of each other now.
Mm-hmm.
So Serena Williams played her last match a week and a half ago or something like that. I think it was her third last match or something was here in Cincinnati, I think.
One of them, yeah. Yeah, it's always that US Open warm up kind of is what they have out here in Cincinnati.
Yeah. So she ended up losing in the US Open, and that was her last match, and she said so. And so she is moving on at 40 years old. At 41 years old, retiring just yesterday, I guess. Roger Federer. So Serena, 23 Grand Slam titles.
The most Grand Slam titles in the Open era.
Okay.
I believe she's 2 behind
Billie Jean King, maybe. Martina Navratilova.
No, not
Monica Seles.
Yeah.
Venus Williams.
Anna
Kournikova.
Anyway, I'm not sure. I'll have to look it back up. But she's second behind somebody, but she's number 1 in the Open era. I don't know when that is. I just know that that's a big deal, apparently. Oh, 23 is amazing, right? That's amazing.
Steffi Graf.
Roger Federer has 20 Grand Slams. He's behind Djokovic, the Joker, and Rafa Nadal, who, to be honest, we grew up with Pete Sampras and
Andre
Agassi. And we got to watch 2 Americans be at the very top of men's tennis for our entire growing up childhood. Mm-hmm. Take it for granted. We're not tennis people, but Andre Agassi was cool, man. You know what I mean? Andre Agassi was that California dude. I assume he was from California. He seemed like a California guy. I was a total
good assumption.
Judging, total. What do you call that? Yeah, some kind. I'm sure that was terrible in some way. I don't know why it's bad to be from California, but I'm sure whatever I said was terrible. Anyway,
Canon commercials.
Yep. And then you got Pete Sampras, who, played against him and had the cry face before Jordan had the cry face. But was amazing. They were both really great. The generation after us growing up, which is, basically still kind of our generation now, got to see Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer duke it out against each other for a very long time. Those 3 are the top 3 Grand Slam winners in men's tennis history. For them to have all played in the same era and the longevity alone to be able to do that, and the domination of 3 people. Basically, if there was a Grand Slam won in the last 20 years, it was Rafa Nadal, Roger Federer, or Novak Djokovic. Yeah. That is incredible. And then, but in Roger Federer's third behind the 2 of them. They've got 21 and 22 respectively.
Wasn't he leading at some point?
Yes. Yeah. And then Nadal came out and went on a tear. And Nadal's still playing as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. I think Joker might be done.
Oh,
is he still playing?
I thought he was still playing.
I don't know, man. We don't watch tennis. I watch a little, you see the highlights, and when people are that good, generational talent like that, you pay attention to it. And the thing that sucks right now is I feel like we're talking a lot about the men's side of this because we're literally talking. I had her on on the Mount Rushmore of athletes. Mm-hmm. Serena Williams is maybe one of, I think I had Simone Biles, I said was the best athlete of all time or something like that. When we first did this, it was before the Olympics, and with Simone Biles, and I was getting ready for the Olympics, and I was super stoked because that girl is still, even with all the stuff that went down, she's amazing at what she did, right? There was nobody, they have moves named after her that no one will do. Serena Williams is the Michael Jordan, the Tiger Woods, the you name it. She is that of all of tennis, not just women's tennis, of tennis. You think tennis, greatest tennis player ever, Serena Williams.
She spent 319 weeks as number one in the world. That's 6 years.
Wow. And what, did she lose it because she had a baby? Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. She is. That's what I always, whenever she comes up in conversation, I just say Michael Jordan of tennis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I agree with you. And talking about, we're not big tennis people, but I thinking about number one, Serena, but the three guys you mentioned, plus Serena Williams, all playing at the same time. I wish I was a much bigger tennis fan.
Yeah,
because we saw four of the greatest ever, four of the maybe top 5 tennis players ever, maybe.
Imagine growing
at the
up
same time
in the 70s and getting to see Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, Willie Mays, all playing at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think it's Roberto Clemente Day, by the way. Is it Clemente
Day?
It's
today Clemente Day?
I think so.
I didn't know that.
I think so.
What an ambassador for the sport.
Yeah. He's an okay guy.
Well, I guess was
probably,
right.
He was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's a really good guy.
Yep. Anyway, congratulations to Roger Federer and Serena Williams on incredible careers, and good luck to them. I'm sure they'll be around tennis. I would imagine I'm sure they can still do commercials and advertisements.
100%. I mean, Serena Williams is going to be doing commercials, and she'll be a spokesperson for. She's a spokesperson not just for tennis, though. She is women's rights. She's African American rights. She's
into fashion.
She's huge into fashion. She's got her own line. She's a brand, right? This is the whole. Now we have brands. Like, these athletes are brands because they are worth billions of dollars. She is a brand. She will be around. She'll be doing stuff. Ken Griffey Jr. still has shoes out, man. Yeah. Michael Jordan is the biggest shoe salesman. Sells the most basketball shoes of anybody in the entire world. That's what he does, man.
He and Al Bundy work together selling shoes.
Yep. So the other thing too, though, is that's really cool about that. She broke down crying and was talking about her sister. And how there would be no Serena if there wasn't a Venus. And when you go back, if I don't know how much you remember of all that, and it's all in here, I'm sure, in this page that has her accomplishments, that's a mile long. But they were the 5th pair, okay, the 5th not couples, what's it called? Doubles. 5th doubles pair to play in a Grand Slam championship. To what is that called? The Grand Slam. When you play all of them in the single season. 5th people to be in that. The first doubles team to ever win that Grand Slam. What is that called? What's that called? Not a Grand Slam. It's
Triple Crown.
When you win all of them, the U.S. Open.
Is that not the Grand Slam?
That is the Grand Slam. Yeah, it is the Grand Slam. Yeah. So they're the first doubles people. I saw that the gold medals they won as the gold medals she won as a singles player, the gold medals they won as doubles players. I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I still have not seen that movie with Will Smith. I heard it's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah, I mean, and not to mention all the triples championships they won. So, no, I don't know. I just keep thinking about that. I mean, this is the last 20 years was probably the best era of tennis ever. And we lived through it. I mean, almost all of it as adults too.
That was really cool.
Yeah. So very cool. All right. Well, congratulations to them. On to the fight week portion of this episode.
Oh yeah, baby.
So we got a fight to review. We've got a fight to preview. And so we will start with Nate Diaz. You mentioned it up top. Nate Diaz fought Tony Ferguson in what was Nate Diaz's last fight on his contract.
Which was, he was never supposed to fight this guy. There was some really crazy not backstage. Well, there was some crazy backstage stuff that went down before the fight. It was like 3 fights that almost went down behind closed doors. But the guy came out overweight, way overweight, like not even close.
Tony Ferguson did?
No.
Nate Diaz did?
No. They weren't supposed to fight each other.
Oh.
It was that bald guy with the beard who ended up being overweight. He still fought, but he fought at a different weight level class. And he walked out there and choked old boy out like instantly. He never even got hit. I don't remember what the guy's name is. Either way, Diaz got to fight Ferguson. It's a fight that should have happened probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe not that long ago, but at least 5 or 6 years ago.
Tony Ferguson was a lightweight champ at one time. Mm-hmm. And Nate Diaz was maybe probably the top contender, I think, because didn't he fight for the title at some point?
Yeah, at one point he did.
Yeah. So anyway, 2 guys who are now longtime veterans, kind of greats probably in their weight class, at least in the sport. And they ended up fighting, and it went 4 rounds before Nate Diaz choked him out. But before that, I mean, it took 10 seconds maybe, like from the time they went to the ground, which was the first time, maybe the second time. I mean, it ended in the 4th round. If the fight went, what would that be? 15, 17 or 18 minutes. If it was 17 minutes, 16 and a half minutes were on the feet. Like they stood and traded and punches and kicks for 3.5 rounds, basically. And yeah, there was a really brief time where they were kind of on the ground, and Nate got right up, and then they just kept going again. So then 4th round, Ferguson actually kind of started taking him down, and Nate just grabbed his head and cranked his neck. So
it was I tried to talk while I was eating. I'm officially done with that bag of Reese's.
Good for you.
It just seems so easy. Once Ferguson shot at him and was trying to take him down, it just looked like Nate Diaz was like, well, this is over. Mm-hmm. And it was almost in slow motion. He just kind of reached over, locked in, cranked it down, and it was over.
Yep. And he tapped. From what I saw, I ended up seeing the fight. Before that, I saw highlights of the fight. And from what I saw, this was just like an edited thing put together on YouTube. From what I saw, I was like, this is maybe a little bit different Nate Diaz. I saw a stare down at the weigh-ins the day before that Nate Diaz wasn't trying to fight him at the weigh-ins. He always tries to fight a guy at the weigh-ins.
Again, a big part of that is because he's fighting someone completely different than he was supposed to fight. Literally, it happened the day before 2 days before the fight, they changed it.
So, and apparently he's got some respect for Tony Ferguson, which you don't normally see, because he wants to Nate Diaz wants to talk trash. He wants to make it personal. He wants to make it a dirty street fight. If there's an opportunity to fight in backstage, he wants to do it. At the weigh-ins, he wants to do it. On the street, at the club, he wants to fight all the time. I don't like Nate Diaz because he's a punk. He and his brother came up, and they are just like, they're like thuggish dudes. And
they're OGs. They say it. We're gangsters. Like, you're not a real gangster. I'm a gangster. They say those words all the time. Talk about that. But as a fighter, as a UFC fighter, when he's in the octagon,
he's a very good fighter. And he has been for a long time.
The thing is the thing I love about him is he's tough. I mean, if you watch that fight, he took quite a few shots. I mean, he probably was losing that fight before they went down. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe it was close. But he took some big shots.
Because he purposely takes them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, number one, he will and wants to fight the toughest guys, the best guys all the time.
Love that.
He wants to fight the best all the time. He will stand there and just take punches however long you need him to. He will just stand in the pocket. He's not a hard puncher. He's a good boxer, but he's not a hard puncher. He's not knocking people out.
Nope.
His specialty is jiu-jitsu, and he wants to. I mean, it favors him if it goes to the ground, but he wants to stand up. That's the crazy thing.
That's insane, because he might be one of the best on the ground in that situation at making people tap out and being able to get himself in areas and lock in holds in different ways, which is very difficult to do. But he'd rather stand up and try to beat you up.
He's a Gracie black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he wants to stand up because number one, he's a decent boxer, and his cardio. We were talking about this beforehand. His cardio is crazy all the time. He's in unbelievable shape. He doesn't have, like you were saying before, doesn't have like the body of some of these other guys, but
chiseled.
Yeah,
nothing like that.
He doesn't look like a great athlete, honestly, but he is a great athlete. Yep. We were talking about he and his brother Nick have done a bunch of like Ironman marathons and that kind of stuff. Like,
and that's amazing. Like you it's not, you hear Ironman marathon, right? Like it's insane. Mm-hmm. People like train for a year nonstop every day to run a marathon. These people run a marathon after they get done swimming 2 miles and riding a bike 120 miles. Mm-hmm. Then they run a marathon.
Can you imagine Nick and Nate Diaz talking just the worst trash to people who are like accountants and lumber salesmen and production planners that are doing Ironman marathons, mm-hmm. and they're swimming right by them, or they're running by them or something like that, and they're like trying to start trouble.
Yep. I wonder how many fights they got in during the Ironman. They probably, I see them running with each other and just jawing each other the entire way.
Maybe, but they're also
like best friends.
Though. Yeah,
it's not. I don't know.
That's like anybody that talks to my brother is
gonna get it. Yeah. Could you imagine walking into a bar? You don't know. You don't know Nick or Nate Diaz from Adam, right? Like, could you imagine that and just being one of these dudes that has a bad day, had a couple too many cocktails, gets bumped into, turn around like, hey man, come on, chill. And next thing you know, you just said that to one of the Diaz brothers, and they haven't had a drink at all, and they right now want to kill you.
Yeah,
they're like you.
I mean, high as a kite, but no drink.
Yes, but no drink. Yeah, like that's, man, you are in trouble, bro. You are in trouble.
They've both been suspended a few times for marijuana. I think, I don't even know if it's illegal anymore, but Nate, I don't know, did you see the post-fight press conference?
Mm-mm.
Just lit up a joint, was smoking a joint right in the press conference.
Well, they're in Nevada,
big old one.
They're in Vegas, so it's legal.
Oh man, I mean, he was like I'm chilling now. Apparently he's talking about, because he talked about having a love-hate relationship with the UFC, talked about possibly starting his own thing to
rival
say
it.
This is how it's supposed to be done or whatever.
It would pay the fighters more, because there's so much money in the UFC. Think about the money, dude, that these pay-per-views make. Now they do so many of them so consistently. Every 2 weeks there's another pay-per-view, so they're not as big, and I think that hurts them. But they're not as big, but there's still a ton of money coming into each one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And these fighters, bro, they do not get a big piece of the cake. Whereas you look at the boxers, when these guys are having these boxing fights, they're signing huge deals.
Yeah.
Those boxers fight one time, one main event, and you'll make as much as Ronda Rousey made in her entire career. You'll make as much as Nate Diaz made in his time. Make as much as that one fight Conor McGregor did with Floyd Mayweather. He made more money than he made his entire career fighting in the UFC, and he was one of the greatest fighters ever in the UFC.
Yep. Yeah, the whole fighters being paid thing has been one of the biggest criticisms of Dana White and the UFC for a long time. They've had a bunch of contract disputes with big fighters and stuff like that. Guys have left and then come back and left again. And that might just continue. But anyway, if anybody's gonna, if they get a wild hair up anything, the Diaz brothers can probably start something, and you're allowed to do any kind of drugs you want. Come on in, and we'll get you some.
Well, the problem with that
No,
that can't happen because it has to be regulated.
It's sanctioned. It
It
has to be
has to be
sanctioned,
sanctioned, and there's going to have to
yeah.
be drug tests based off of the laws of whatever state the fight's going to be in. So that you can say whatever you want about that, and it is funny. It is a joke, right? Those,
Right.
They're old hood boys, and that's what they like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, you would have to, in case you guys are listening, like, I'm tweet boxing Nate Diaz, and I'm getting into his fight thing because I want to be hiring a kite when I fight. Well, that's a liability for a lot of people to walk into a ring hiring a kite.
Can you imagine him as an executive of a professional organization?
No, not even at all. Not even a little bit.
Whatever happens, I don't know. Even if they got a contract together and signed him to another deal, how much more can he have?
Yeah, and he's
37,
I was
38.
gonna say he's getting older, and that fight was, against another older guy. The guy who was supposed to fight was a lot younger apparently and ran his mouth a lot. And it's a crazy guy.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm thinking of the same guy, but I can't remember his daggone name either. Anyway, but Nate Diaz, like you said, man, he's getting up there. He's getting up there, and Father Time, beats everybody except Tom Brady. So I don't know. I don't know how much more he'd have in him. Go to boxing, maybe. Maybe he does go out there and do. There's so many celebrity boxings. I just watched Le'Veon Bell knock out Adrian Peterson the other day. Le'Veon Bell and Adrian Peterson had a boxing match and fought each other.
Like recently?
Yeah, like last weekend. And Le'Veon Bell put Adrian Peterson to sleep. Nick Young, Swaggy P, boxed in it and got laid out. I can't remember who hit him. I can't remember who fought him, but it's all this is I don't know if it's good or I thought at first when Tyson came out and did that what's it called? Triller
Mm-hmm.
Sports, and was doing these fights. I thought this was going to be really cool. And I was like, man, I could see Mike Tyson again. And then he fought Roy Jones Jr. and Tyson looked great. Jones Jr. looked like he didn't belong in that ring. Like, hey man, you weren't supposed to be, this ain't going how it's supposed to go. What happened to 50%? You know what I mean? And Tyson looked ridiculous for a 50-year-old man. I was like, this is cool. I'd love to see something like this happen again. And then, you get to see there's guys that are polarizing, like Jake Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to see somebody knock him out. Look at these world-class athletes. Go knock this dude. Well, this dude has, been training to be a boxer for years and years. Whether he's really good or he's not really good, he's been training for it. So he's going to be better than an NBA player 2 years out of retirement trying to beat him up, right? It's just not going to happen. Or a big fat Ben Askren trying to beat him up, who's completely out of shape and obviously didn't train at all for the fight.
And was a wrestler anyway.
So that's my thing. Like it's starting to get out of hand now, though. It's getting out of hand now. It was one way for some people made some money. Now everybody wants to do it. Now you got Swaggy P getting beat up. You got Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell fighting. You've got I'm done. I don't need that. At first I thought it was good for boxing because it would bring people back to it, and it brought me into it. I went and I started watching more boxing, paying attention to more boxing, but
for a bad reason though. Like if you're into boxing, you don't want to watch Nate Robinson box. It's those guys aren't boxers. And I've even still been real hesitant to be excited about Logan and Jake Paul because I'm like, okay, these guys are influencers that like boxing and train it now. And by the way, Jake Paul's fighting Anderson Silva. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. And Dana White's like, yeah, okay, I'm not talking about that. We're not talking about it. He wanted Ben Askren to beat him up. He wanted Wheatley, whatever that guy's name was. What was his name? Tyron Wheatley to beat him up. And neither of them did, although Wheatley may have won Wheatley wasn't doing bad in that fight until he got knocked out. But that's the thing though, right? Like now everybody wants to see Jake Paul get beat up. He promotes well. This dude could be a great promoter. He's going to be the next Don King, right? Except now he's the one fighting. He promotes his fights so well. It's insane. You've got to give him credit for that. But this isn't boxing, man. We're not watching boxers. Because then you see this young kid, Garcia. You seen that? King Garcia, what's his name? Whatever his name.
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia. And you watch that dude's hands.
Mm-hmm.
That's a boxer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't see his hands. It's like he hits you and you didn't even know it. He hit you 5 times and you didn't even see any of them.
Yeah.
That's boxing. That's what I want. I like the light heavyweights, the middleweights that are just flying around and fast as lightning and slip those jabs. And that's insane to me. The combinations that hit you and then the body, they just wear you out, right? It's not a ton of knockouts, but just wear you out.
Yeah.
And then the real boxers like who's the Gypsy King?
Oh,
the champ.
The big, yeah.
Yeah. Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, like you watch that dude and you're like, he just looks like a big out of shape dude. But when you watch him box, he's a phenomenal boxer. You can't hit him. You can't hit him.
Yep.
He is quick. He's elusive. He's long. He's a boxer. That's how you box. These dudes all just walk out there and just try to land that big punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not boxing. It is boxing, I guess. Technically, it is boxing. I thought it was good for the sport. I don't think it is anymore.
Already rumors of Nate Diaz versus one of the Paul brothers.
Nate Diaz will fight anybody. He don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is Nate Diaz is 20 pounds, 30 pounds lighter than those dudes. Aren't they like they box at like 150 or 140, 140. Don't they box at like 140?
No, Nate fights.
No.
He fought at.
I'm not talking about Nate. I'm talking about the Paul brothers.
Oh no, they're way heavier than that.
I said
140. No, 140. I'm heavier than 140. Those guys are.
So what's Nate Diaz? What Nate Diaz fight at?
I think he fought
125, 126.
No. What he fought lightweight all the way up until I think this was a welterweight fight.
Oh, was
170?
Huh.
Yeah.
Nate Diaz is not 170.
I bet he walks around at 200 pounds.
No way.
And then cuts.
You think so?
I bet now, probably not in his earlier days, because he fought at 155 for a long time. But guys that fight at 155 are walking around at 170, 175 on a regular
170.
day.
Yeah. Weighed in at 170.
Yeah.
And then so let's see what Jake Paul's at. Where's
those
Jake
guys,
Paul?
I think those guys might fight at 185 or 200 or maybe close to 200 pounds. I mean, I thought those guys are big.
What is heavyweight in boxing?
I don't know. I'm still I can never remember all the different weight classes in boxing because there are a million of them, it seems like. But like welterweight is 170 in the UFC, 185 is middleweight. Those guys are at least in the 180s, I think.
I didn't think they were that heavy. That's big, dude. That is big.
I think they're big guys. I think they are. Yeah, because Jake Paul's got to fight Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, he was fighting at 205. He was a light heavyweight.
Logan Paul's 189 and a half. He was 189 and a half, and Floyd Mayweather was 155.
Yeah.
So there you go.
See that
you shouldn't win that fight. Floyd Mayweather doesn't beat any boxer that any boxer that weighs 190 pounds is beating up Floyd Mayweather. Any of them. Floyd Mayweather. I mean, if you're a professional boxer,
which is why I have a hard time giving any credit to what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
Because they're putting on these enormous fights with people they don't actually match up with just because it's a huge payday because they are big talkers.
Yeah.
And people like that for some reason. So I don't know. I'll tell you what, though, when you talk about real boxers, you can talk about Canelo Alvarez and you can talk about Gennady Golovkin.
187 cruiserweight, Jake Paul.
Cruiserweight.
I don't know the weight classes. I'm so terrible at that.
I can't remember. I knew the UFC weight classes.
You know what I saw was how much these guys weigh. Because we're about to talk about Canelo and Triple G.
Yep. And those guys are fighting. They're welterweights, I think. Welterweights or middleweights, maybe.
Middleweights.
They're middleweights. And so they're about to have their third fight in the trilogy of the. So this is kind of like, now they did in their primes, they did fight maybe even twice in their primes.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, one was in 15 and one in 17
this one feels a little
or
bit
18, maybe.
Yeah, this one feels a little bit like the Pacquiao Mayweather fight that should have happened 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
But still two guys that are still pretty much at the top of the game. I think I should have looked that up. I think Canelo Alvarez is coming off of a loss, if I'm not mistaken. So both got and Triple G is 40 years old now, so both of these guys are getting closer to the end of their careers, especially Triple G. But he's a big puncher. He's a knockout guy, and Canelo Alvarez has an iron chin, and he's
a punk,
great.
man. You talk about punks like Canelo Alvarez. I don't like Canelo Alvarez. I like Triple G. All right. Triple G is a nice guy. Triple G should have probably won the first fight. It went to a draw. And he's like, look, man, the judges said he won, so it's over. He won. But then you got guys like Canelo who would never do. He's the kind of guy who's going to he's going to run his mouth because he's part of the whole Golden Boy promotions with
Oscar
De La Hoya, who I'm not a big fan of Oscar De La Hoya anymore either.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen him a few times where I'm like,
he says some stupid stuff he's trying to be this big promoter now, and he's probably the biggest promoter in boxing right now.
Yeah,
but man, like you don't have to be Don King. You don't have to say the stupidest stuff you can possibly say and try to start fights with the UFC and do everything else that you're going to do.
Yeah. I think I've heard Dana White say some pretty bad things about Oscar De La Hoya, but
hates
yeah.
Oscar De La Hoya. That's a good fight. I'd watch that boxing match.
Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like with that, like when terrible. Conor McGregor wanted to box Floyd Mayweather. I'm going back to this. I'm sorry. We'll come back to Canelo and Triple G. The whole, fight, like Floyd Mayweather told you when the fight was going to end. He told you what round. He waited. He did what he needed to do to get the fight. Like that's not a fight. And he didn't look like a fighter. But guess what? If you put him in the octagon, he's got no chance against
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather has no chance. But they're two different sports. They train two different things. They're professionals at two different sports. That's like saying I was a great basketball player. But I'm a professional baseball player. But I'm going to go challenge Michael Jordan to a one-on-one match. I was a great basketball player, but I'm a professional baseball player. I'm a professional athlete. I can do it. No, you can't.
Right.
Even if Michael Jordan is 50, he's going to wait around and say 35 minutes. We'll make sure we get a full half hour before I get to 10. You know what I mean? Like that's how he's going to be. Like it's just ridiculous. It's stupid.
Yep. So Canelo Alvarez, Triple G. First one was a draw. Like you said, a lot of people thought Triple G might have won that one.
Canelo got one judge, so Triple G won. There's three judges. Triple G had one that was 115, 113. And then one judge was 114, 114. That was a draw. And then the other one was Canelo Alvarez, 118, 110. Come on, man. Obviously, something's going on there. You got two judges that are right next to each other, and you got one judge that far off. Sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Who knows? And Canelo also got in trouble for a while, was suspended 6 months
after their second fight. He got suspended for was it after their first fight? It delayed their second fight because they're supposed to fight in 17,
right? And
they ended up fighting in 2018 because he got a 6-month suspension for steroids.
Yeah, it was a substance that they used to fatten cows faster. I forget what it's called, but anyway, so they fought twice. A lot of people think that that Triple G. Some people think that he won both of those
Yep.
fights.
If you look at the sabermetric side of it, if you will, it
Did he
like
walk a lot more?
yeah, he walked a lot more. But they had it's like CompuBox or something like
Yeah.
that. Had him winning 10 out of the 12 rounds or something like that in the second fight, and had him winning. It was kind of the same in the first fight, but there's judges there. That's who makes the call, right? It's not it's you don't have an electronic strike zone. You've got a umpire behind the plate, so you got to take it with what it is, which is why I respect Triple G for not making a big deal out of it, knowing that he was a better fighter that day, saying I feel like I was the better fighter, but he got the win. He won it. Good for him.
I briefly considered trying to become a boxing judge.
Really?
There's a boxing gym that I used to go to all the time who has had like classes to become a referee and a judge, like then to try like help you get sanctioned or whatever,
Licensed
to become
and
that
sanctioned, all that
licensed.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You would be good because nobody could get in your back pocket. You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
No.
You wouldn't be able to do it.
No under the table stuff.
I don't know, man. If
honesty.
somebody came up and was like, I threaten your family's life if you don't.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, that's the only. Yeah.
Whoever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they're just offering money, that ain't gonna happen.
No. I don't know how much money's involved in I mean, just like whatever. What I don't know what a judge makes doing that, or a referee for that matter.
I mean, it's a side gig, so I mean, it's just you're just making money on a fight. So I'm sure it's a good chunk of change for that night, but
yeah,
I'm sure it's not anything crazy.
I guess so. Huh? I don't know. You got a prediction for Triple G and Canelo?
Nah, I don't. I'm rooting for Triple G. I think Triple G finally deserves his due in this whole trilogy of a craziness.
I'm thinking about getting the fight. I don't know. I didn't buy the first two fights. I've just seen. I think I might have ended up seeing the first fight way after it happened. But I didn't buy them on pay-per-view. They're just outrageous prices. But if I end up at home earlier than I think I'm going to be on Saturday, then maybe I'll end up getting it.
I like it. Good luck.
Thanks. I'll end up not getting it because I'll look at the price. It'll be like $100,
$85 or something, or $90 or whatever. So that boxing, the last Canelo Alvarez boxing match, brought in $117 million. That's not too bad.
It's pretty good.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Ticket sales, 16,000 people there, so not a ton there. That brings in whatever it does, but they sold 1.1 million pay-per-views at $85 a pop.
Really? That doesn't even sound like that much to me.
It was lower than their first one. I didn't see the numbers on the first fight, but everything it said was this is lower numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But the first fight brought in even more than that. So that seems like a lot, dude. That's $117 million. Now, how much does it cost to rent out? Both fights were at
like Mandalay Bay or something.
It was somewhere in Vegas. It was the same place. They're at the same place. Oh, I was just reading it. Anyway,
the Palms or something.
Yes, something like that. So, how much does it cost to rent out a place like that? You know what I mean? Throw a mill out for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not that much.
Ask Dana White.
Yeah, throw a mill out for that. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but not $117 million worth. I'll tell you that.
No, yeah, they should make a pretty good profit on that. Yeah. Yep. Okay, Chris, we need to get on to our next thing, which, as you mentioned, was not part of the plan here until you just remembered it earlier. We've got NFL picks to make.
Oh crap, dude! We're getting into a long one here.
It's okay.
Thought this was going to be a short one. I apologize.
No.
All right, NFL picks. You're exactly right. Let's make this thing happen, brother. I'm glad you remembered.
Do you want to go first, or would you like me to try to go first?
No, I'd be happy to go first. And then whoever's winning always goes second. Right. Okay. So whoever's winning at the moment will go second from here on out.
Gotcha.
I'll go first this week. So the NFL week 2 starts tonight. The game is over. The Chiefs come back to win in the fourth quarter against the Chargers, so we can't take that game. So that brings us to Sunday.
I would never have taken that game. I don't even care what the spread was.
Yeah, Jets, Browns, Commanders, Lions. Jets, Browns, 6.5. Commanders, Lions. Let's see. What are we going to do here? The Browns are laying 6.5 to the New York Jets in Cleveland. The 1-0 Browns. You got Falcons and Rams. The Rams are giving 10 points to the Falcons. Let's go. You know what? I'm gonna go Rams +10 -10 at home. That's a double digit. I don't like it normally, but the Rams are coming off a loss that surprised a lot of people. The Falcons are terrible. I think the Rams make a comeback in that game. And then let's go. This may be off the board, is it? No, it's not. The Bengals are 7-point favorites in Dallas.
Wow.
Well, Dak Prescott's hurt and is out.
Yeah,
So the Dallas has no quarterback and really no backup. But they still have a lot of good. They have a decent defense. And but I'm going to take, man, that's a road favorite. I don't like that game. I'm not taking that game because I feel like that's gonna be closer than it needs to be because the Bengals just seem to be in way too many close games. Texans and Broncos, another 10-point spread. There's a lot of big spreads out there. Lots and lots of big spreads. You know what I'm going to go with here, brother?
What's that?
I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks +8.5 in San Francisco. I like that game a lot. The Seahawks, their defense looked phenomenal this week, this past Monday. I'm going to take that game. And last but not least, I'm going to take the Saints at home +2.5 against Tampa Bay. I think the Saints win that game outright.
Saints.
Jamie Winston getting the start against his old team.
Jamie.
Uncle Tommy going into the dome.
So you have the Saints in that?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints.
Okay. As underdogs at home.
You know how those home dogs are, man. I like those home dogs.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Okay. I'm going to start with the Indianapolis horses.
Oh, I love the young horses.
They are 3.5-point favorites on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to go ahead and take Indy.
You're going to take the young male horse.
I'm going to take the young male horse. I'm going to go. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Baltimore Ravens. They are a 3.5-point fave at home versus the Dolphins, the Miami Fish.
The old fish scales.
So give me the Baltimore Ravens. There
would they actually be the Miami Mammals?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
And now that Ace Ventura found Snowflake, everything's great now in Miami, but they have to go to. So Snowflake will not be at this game because it's in Baltimore.
Laces out, Dan.
Thirdly,
so does that mean that Finkel is Einhorn?
Finkel's Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is back from injury.
Wow.
So he's going to be kicking again.
Laces out, Dan. Laces out, Tua.
Yeah. Cincinnati Bengals, a game that you did not want to mess with for very good reason. I agreed with you. And then I'm going to go ahead and take them.
You're taking the Bengals. I'm the only one that took the Bengals in Dallas in our picks, if I believe correctly.
You might be right about that. As a matter of fact, it's right here.
Or did I give them that? Was that their first loss? That might have been their first loss for me. Yeah,
was.
I did.
You and I
did.
both
Me
had
and
losses
me
there.
and yeah, Andre took the win. So Andre's gonna go up on us today, bub.
Yep, probably. But if yeah, so now I've got both sides of the coin, so I'm gonna win.
Yep.
Something.
It's week 2.
It's week 2. It's week 2. I'm gonna win something. Okay, there we go. We've got everything we need.
I love it.
On to the Mount Rushmore of vehicles we have owned. This is gonna be fun.
I want you to start because you've got some stories to go along with this.
I do. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. No, number one, I'm starting with the first car I owned, first car I purchased with my own money. Actually, I think I borrowed money from Uncle Bob and then paid him back, but for this car. But anyway, a 1985 Buick Skylark.
The Buick, the blue was blue, wasn't it? Blue?
It was gray.
Oh, it was gray. Okay.
It was gray, outside and inside.
He had the 8 CD changer in the trunk of it.
Was it 6? I don't want to
I
say.
thought it was
6.
8. Was it 6?
I think it was 6. But I mean, I had that added on. The radio itself like came up out of the floor. And it was like a standalone thing almost. It was like a monolith or something. Like it was a
the old Buick, man. Hey, Buick was ahead of their time.
I'll tell you, it was a nice. I loved that car. I started looking when I was looking at this the other day. I started Googling this car to see if I could find a good picture of the one. I couldn't find any pictures of at least my memory of what it looked like.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did love that car, and it was like a kind of a state of the art car too, because it had the completely digital dash. And it was like, the gas gauge that was like, it would like light up and then it would like kind of go down like bar by bar.
Yep.
You could switch. I mean, it was just I loved that car.
Yeah.
I did. First car. Second car was a 90, I think it was a 99 that I think I got in 98 Chevrolet S10 pickup truck.
What was it? A 98?
I think it was a 99.
99. You got that brand new. That S10
I got it brand new, and I think it was one of those things like it was the next year's car came out
like in October or September, whenever that happens,
something like that. So I got the pickup truck. I think for some reason my dad convinced me. Looking back now, it was probably like he wanted a truck. So he's like, I'm going to get Adam to lease a truck. Although it was an S10, it wasn't very big. But as a matter of fact, it was a car with a truck body because it was like a 4-cylinder engine. It went 0 to 60 in 60 seconds, I think. And but it was nice. I kind of liked having that option. It drove like a car, but it was a truck. If I needed to throw something in the back, I could.
Nice.
And that truck was I really liked it, and it is the biggest part of one of the biggest parts of one of my favorite stories, which by the way, the anniversary of this story was yesterday. Our cousin Bobby, who has been a guest on this podcast,
Aminab, first in studio guest,
you're right. It was his birthday. I was picking him up to take him to lunch that day on his birthday on September 14th. And we were going I think we were going to Skyline. So we go through this intersection and this lady is turning left into a gas station, turns right in front of me. We collide. Pretty good. The hardest accident I've ever been in. Airbag deploys and everything, hits me in the face. I feel like I got punched in the face, or what I imagine getting punched in the face is like. I don't know. So banged up pretty bad. Cop comes. He runs both of our standard procedure, I'm sure, runs both of our licenses and everything.
Yes.
Find out I have a warrant for my arrest.
Adam Schmidt, warrant for his arrest.
apparently an unpaid ticket, which I had gotten like 6 months earlier, paid with a money order because I think maybe just turned 18, not too long before that, didn't have a checkbook yet, didn't have a checking account yet. So I got a money order and sent it in, mailed it through the mail to pay my ticket or whatever.
You mailed it through the mail.
I mailed it through the mail.
It's a good way to mail
regular
things.
mail.
It's a good way to mail things.
I didn't email it.
Was there email at that point in time when you were 18 years old? 20 some years ago.
Yeah,
bro. Yeah.
I think there was. It was
Okay.
still relatively new.
Relatively new. It's probably dirtspot@AOL.com or something.
that wasn't me, but yeah, that one was already taken. Adam Reds fan, I think, was my AOL instant messenger name, something like that.
Wit boy.
There you go. I remember.
Which was a terrible decision, by the way. I used to go into those chat rooms and I got a ton of people that would like racially hate me because they all thought I was white boy.
Oh,
white boy. Yeah. And I'd get a thing, yo, white boy, what's that all about? Man, there's no E. What are you guys reading?
Well, people are very stupid. So anyway.
I used to get that all the time. I hated that.
So on Bobby's birthday, we get into an accident.
Warrant for your arrest.
Warrant for my arrest. Warrant for the lady that turned in front of me.
She had a warrant too?
She had 3, I think. She had 2 or 3.
Nice.
For like theft and something else. So they were like legit. But anyway, I paid my.
They were legit.
I paid my.
Adam was a non-legit criminal. This chick was a legit criminal.
Because I paid my ticket. With the warrant that I had for me was because of we found out later,
unpaid parking ticket.
But it was a clerical error because I had paid it, but they didn't have it correct in the record.
Right.
So, he has to. The police officer that came onto the scene had to put us both in the back of his car because we both had warrants. And so I'm sitting next to this girl that I just got in an accident with. She was not happy. And
did she blame you?
You know what I remember is we were both telling our account of the story, and she said I was going fast. She said I was going too fast, like I was speeding through or whatever. And then I think I was like, I might have been going faster than the speed limit, which is 35 there, I think.
Yeah.
But I had just gone through an intersection, and usually I kind of hit my brake as I'm coming to an intersection, which is probably the wrong thing to do. But just because I'm so worried about everybody else like pulling in front of me or whatever all the time, a lot of times in intersections, I will start hitting my slow down
or let off of the accelerator.
Right. Yeah. So if I was speeding, it couldn't have been by that much. But either way, she just turned right in front of me.
Doesn't matter. She turned left in front of you. She was turning left.
I wasn't
she's
going
at fault.
I wasn't going 60 in a 35. I might have been going 40 or 45 at the very most.
Doesn't matter. She turned left.
So, and when I was like, I don't think I was going a whole lot more than 35. And I could see I could feel or hear like a, or something, like a, and so anyway, cop is dealing with all this stuff so Bobby's sitting on the curb on the side of the road, just waiting for all this stuff to happen.
And doesn't have a cell phone at the time. I'm
no
sure
cell
there's
phone.
No cell phone. So
no cell phone.
Yeah.
Just so happens that my dad had just picked my brother up from school from band or something after school. And they are driving past our accident. And Bobby somehow sees him coming and jumps up and flags him down.
Yeah.
So my dad just happens to be driving by it, pulls up, sees Bobby, sees my truck, sees it crushed, doesn't see me, by the way, probably is like, oh my God, where is he? Sees Bobby jump up and flag him down, comes over, talks to the cop. Cop's like, he's got a warrant. I got to take him in, put him in the slammer. So he's like, oh, that's, my dad's like, that. I'm sure he paid the ticket, I don't, either way, it's got to happen. So So the cop finally gets all the paperwork, all whatever he's got to do together, tow truck and comes and everything. So, and then my dad, I guess, leaves. By the way, my dad goes and calls Uncle Bob,
Of course.
was a
Works-
lieutenant
Yep.
at Hamilton County.
Yep. With correctionals.
Right. This was a District 3 Cincinnati cop now, so it wasn't like a Hamilton County thing, but
Well, it's in Hamilton County.
it is in Hamilton County, yes. But he was taking me to District 3, which at
Okay.
the time was in Price Hill. So
Still is.
no, it's in front of West High now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Or it's in front of the Walmart. It's in that the
It's in
front
that
part of
Walmart
the
building. That's
right
right. That's right. That's right.
now. Anyway, so he's got to take me. So my dad goes and gets a hold of Uncle Bob. He's like, "This is what happened." So so the guy takes us into. He's driving us to.
How did Bob? Where did Bobby go at this point? Okay.
Bobby is sitting on the curb.
You're in the car. Let's get to this. This is my question.
Yeah.
You got handcuffs on? Yes or no?
Not when we left, but right before we got to District 3, he pulled over. The cop pulled over and got out, came back and put cuffs on both of us because it was procedure. He had to bring us in.
You had to come
With
in
cuffs.
with cuffs on. All right. So no cuffs on. You guys leave the scene.
Before we leave the scene, though,
Okay.
we're getting ready to leave. And Bobby, I don't even remember, right? Somebody must have come and maybe Mike came and picked them up. I don't know what happened. Somebody came and picked Bobby up. But before he left and before we left, Bobby comes to the cop car, to the window where I was sitting. Cop is sitting in the front seat doing his paperwork and stuff. Girl right next to me, not happy about what just happened. She knows she's in trouble. She's going to jail. He goes, "All right, man, don't drop the soap." And your reaction was the cop's reaction. He looked back and he just started laughing. Let me tell you, the girl didn't laugh.
At this point in time, I don't care about this woman.
But I think I did, and the cop definitely did. And so I'm like, okay, I was probably super embarrassed, because he said that in front of the cop, and that's the way I am. So, but so funny. I'm so glad he said that now. So anyway, we go. Cop, takes us in. Uncle Bob calls District 3, says, "This is Lieutenant Edwards. Bring him downtown. Bring him to Hamilton County. I'm going to put him through. I'm going to,
I'll take care of him."
So just unbelievable.
So did they drop her off? Did they drop her off at District 3 and then take you somewhere else?
No, I think she came with us.
Okay.
I think she came with us, and maybe that's where she had to end up there anyway. So we went down together, but then we went our separate ways because Uncle Bob gave me the red carpet treatment through that place.
Yeah.
And
did he take the cuffs off right away?
I mean, they had to do all the standard stuff, but I got pushed to the front of the line for everything.
So Uncle Bob was walking you around in handcuffs. I love that.
No, he didn't do any of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
He just showed up and was like,
This is
Talk
who
to
this
everybody.
is. This is what's going on.
Yeah. So anyway, I got through the whole process. I didn't actually even have to go in a cell, I don't think.
You don't think?
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay.
I would have remembered that.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's the whole thing. I got arrested that day. I shouldn't have been, but it was,
That's awesome.
happened. Ended up going to court. I had the carbon copy on the back of the money order.
Yes.
I took that with me. I had another helper. Our Aunt Sue worked in
JC
corrections or whatever it was. Yeah, I forget. But it was it's called oh my gosh, something like criminal, not criminal, but jail. But so she works down there, and she met me took me to court, showed me where to go. She got me. She took me into court, stayed in court with me and everything. She knows all the judges and all the lawyers and everything. Yep. And so I show up, first time in a courtroom ever, only time in a courtroom ever. I show up with a long sleeve Indiana basketball t-shirt on. And she's like, This is what you wore to,
my God.
to court?
Nobody told you to like, no.
I didn't. I had no idea I was supposed to dress nicer. I I don't know. So, anyway, it took like once I finally got my turn, got called up.
Yeah, because you're an S, bro. They go in alphabetical order for the day. I was a W when I had to do mine. Yeah, how long I was in that courtroom? Dude, I sat in the back of that courtroom for 3 hours, maybe longer. It might have been longer than that. They went to lunch before they got to me.
They were like, "You're gonna be at dinner time."
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So anyway, I showed them my money order, and they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, then you paid it. So there you go. It was just not
That's simple.
fixed in the system, or whatever." Anyway, so there it is, and that's my 99 Chevy S10 story. 98 Honda Accord.
Nice. Yes, I remember the Accord.
I was leasing a Corolla. I got to my 36,000 miles and still had like a year and a half left on my lease. So I was going to pay like 10 cents every mile after that. It was crazy. So I bought this used 98 Honda Accord, which I loved because it had a sunroof. I'd never had a sunroof before.
Absolutely.
Sunroof was fun. And then my fourth one, I guess I'm just going to go with the car that I have now, which is a 2014 Toyota Corolla, my fourth Corolla, my fourth black Toyota Corolla in a row.
Does it smell like some of the other ones smelled? You would never know what your car smells like, but Adam works for a flavor company. Well, he did work for a flavor company. I don't know what you do now.
It doesn't.
But he worked for a flavor company, and you get inside his car, and it was the weirdest smell you've ever smelled in your entire life. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. It was just different.
That's when I was working in production, so I smelled like that stuff all the time. A lot of people always either said chocolate or cotton candy, but it was a weird.
Dude, that's two totally different.
Yeah,
flavors.
It was like a weird kind of.
It was a
chocolate.
Mixture of 5,000 flavors.
My brother always said chocolate coffee is what it smelled like.
Yeah.
So anyway, 2014 Corolla. That's what I'm driving right now, and I'm putting it on there because it's paid off, brother.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah,
that's as good as it gets.
It feels good.
That's as good as it gets. You start paying things off, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna milk this one. I'll tell you, for all my life,
as long as you could.
All my life, I was like, after a couple of years, I'm like, I'm kind of tired of this. I'd like to get something
a little newer.
Now I'm 40 years old, and I paid my 2014 car off. I'm like, I'm gonna drive this thing for 400,000 miles.
8 years old. There's no reason you can't get another 7 years out of it.
I've got
drive that thing for
160 something on it.
160? That's not bad.
Something like that.
That's not bad. Not bad at all. I bought my current truck 3 years ago. Actually, yeah, exactly, like almost exactly 3 years ago. And I had 70,000 miles on it. It was right when Corona started. And I've got 131,000 miles on it now. I put 70,000 miles on that son of a gun.
In 3 years?
Well, really only in like a year and a half, 2 years, because I mean, Corona, we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome, dude. I like that. That's good. Nicely done, bro. Nicely done.
Terrible storyteller, but
no, the best part of the story was Aunt Sue worked for the criminal correctional. She worked there.
I'm gonna think of it while you're doing yours.
All right. So my Mount Rushmore, I've only like that were my cars that I drove. We had 6 cars. Mm-hmm. Okay. You had 4 Corollas.
Yeah.
That's
pretty much it.
I had the same car from the time I bought it when I was 15. My dad took out a loan for $2,000, gave the $2,000 to my grandpa, to our grandpa. It was my grandma's car. Gave them the money. I had to pay them all as long as I was in season for something in high school. Like if I was running cross country or trying out for baseball or whatever like that, I didn't have to work. But outside of that, I had to have a job and I had to give them $200 a month.
Quick question.
Yeah.
What color grandma?
Blue grandma.
Thank you.
Yes. Blue grandma's car.
Just needed that clarification.
And by far, I had that car from the time I was 15 until I was 24. 5. I had it for 10 years. I had that car for 10 years. That car, you know what? I might do that car last.
That's my favorite. Yeah, do that.
I'm going to do that car last. So
Thank you.
I'm going to go
I wanna
with,
build up to it.
I got a Chevy S10 as well, which was her husband, our grandpa's truck, who sold that truck to my grandpa. It was our mom's stepdad had the truck, sold it to my dad's dad, my grandpa, my other grandpa.
Shout out Blue Grandpa.
Yep.
And Grandpa Witt.
And Grandpa Witt. Grandpa Witt couldn't drive anymore. I started
names.
driving him around.
2 first names. Grandpa.
I worked for him. Grandpa Witt. Grandpa Jim.
Jim and
Ed.
Jim and Ed.
Yeah, he was Jim and Edward. So my grandma's first husband. My grandma's first husband was Ed Kaggle. My grandpa's name was Edward James Witt. She refused to call him Ed because it was a very terrible time in her life with the first Ed. So he became Jim. Jim sold it to him. He stopped driving because he had some strokes and heart attacks, and I was driving around. I was working for the company, and it just became mine. Didn't pay a dime for it. didn't do anything. Just became my
family,
truck,
man.
I blew that truck up. I love that. I beat that truck up, man. I would put a load of gravel in the back, and that thing could hold like 500 pounds or something back there. I'd put 1,000 pounds back there, drive all over town with a load of gravel. I didn't care. I loaded that thing down. Had a ton of fun with that. Love that car. Almost killed my dog in that car. I put a leash on my dog Tyson, hooked him on to the toe strap, not the toe strap, but the ratchet, hook in your car if you're going to ratchet something, if you're going to strap something down. Put that on there so he wouldn't jump out of the back of the truck, because I'm like, this dog's a psycho dog. He'll jump out of the truck. And he jumped out of the truck with that on, but he didn't have enough leash. So he's hanging off the side of the truck. So I had to put 2 leashes on him, one connected to one side, one connected to the other side, so he couldn't go too far this way or that way.
Oh my God.
I put him back there, hooked it up. I started walking around to get in the truck, and I heard him jump out of it and go, "Ah!" And I was like, oh my God, and he's dangling on the side. So I got him almost instantly, but
I thought you were going to say
I'm getting canceled 3 times now. This is the 3rd time. Now it's human rights or animal rights or something's coming after me.
Shout out Tyson.
Tyson's the greatest dog ever.
Shout out Bandit.
Bandit, down there toward the bottom of.
Shout out the stinky one. What was the stinky one?
Oliver.
Shout out Stinky Oliver.
Great dog. Top 5 dog ever.
Oh, love Oliver.
Oliver's a great dog.
Love his musk.
We didn't have a fenced in yard at the house on Hilliard. We just let Oliver out, and he just go. Like, I don't know how, you see a random dog walking down the street now, and you're like, somebody get this dog. We just let Oliver out the front door, and then when he came back, we let him in. I don't know where the dog went. So ridiculous. I can't believe we did that. Anyway, so the 2002 Chevy S10, which was like a champagne gold. I'm going to call it champagne gold. We'll get back to champagne colors later. I've got to put my current 2016 Ford F-150. It's the first full-size truck I've ever had. It's without a doubt, maybe not my favorite. It's the best vehicle I've ever had.
Okay.
And then I had a 2016 Ford Fiesta. Hated that thing. Worst purchase I've ever made in my life. I bought it brand new. It was a stick shift, bottom of the line. It was as cheap as you got. Roll down windows, not power locks. It was terrible vehicle. Got in like 3 accidents with it. Hated that car. 2016 Mazda CX-9 that I wrapped around a telephone pole when some lady pulled out in front of me. And then the 2013 Honda CR-V. Both the last 2 were cars that I actually bought for my wife that I just ended up driving when she got a new car. I'm going to go with the 13 Honda CR-V. That was a great vehicle. That was if you're going to buy a car, that's a hell of a car.
Okay.
That thing was awesome.
Yeah.
But the greatest car ever was the first car. I had it for 10 years. It was a 1998 Saturn SL2. Ooh. Came with a tape deck and a sunroof. My first car had a sunroof. I thought I had a sports car, dude. I love that car.
Kind of looks like a sports
It was
car.
like a champagne purple. And I had license plate that said Elder 02, and it was a like almost purplish car. It had like a purple metallic tint to it.
Yeah.
I've never had more fun in my life than I did in that car. By the time I got much older, into my 20s, and I was driving that car, 2 stories. By the time I got in my 20s, I was driving that car. It had like some kind of head gasket problem. I replaced the head gasket, and I would get oil up in the spark plugs. And it would just burn out this white smoke, and it would flood it. Like it would just flood it out, and you couldn't start it. And we couldn't fix it. I took it to a couple different places. They did things to it, didn't work. My dad worked on it, couldn't get it. But I knew how to start it. I knew what you needed to do, man. You just got to you get it out, and then boom, once that thing's running, baby, it's ready to go. And I didn't have too much oil in it. In fact, most of the time I didn't have enough because I was scared to put oil in it because it all ended up inside. And so I replaced the gasket so it wouldn't get. Anyway, some car people can tell us what was wrong with it, I'm sure, but I took it to a bunch of different mechanics, never got it fixed. Nobody could start it but me, man. You had to like kick the left tire a couple times, hurry up, get in, hit your head on the steering wheel, give a couple taps on the door, honk the horn, start the car, give it 3 pumps on the gas, 1 pump on the brake, and it'd start up, right? Like I had it down. I could do it. No one could start that car. I used to leave my keys, windows down, leave my keys in the ignition anywhere. You could be at Walmart in Ferguson, dude. I'll leave it right there. Go ahead, big dog. Go ahead, try to get in there. You ain't taking nothing.
You have no idea. You have no idea your left foot's supposed to be out the window when you start it.
Exactly.
The only way it starts.
So we played in a softball tournament.
Imagine that.
The Metro. I was probably 22. I was probably 20. I was probably 23, 24. And this was the night. You might remember this night. We played at 8 a.m. We lost. We stayed there till probably 5 p.m. at the bar. We were a really good team, and we got beaten. We just started yapping at all our buddies out there, having some fun. Had quite a few to drink, too much. And I was not drive. I couldn't drive. There was no way. I could barely talk, much less drive. So buddy of mine's like, get in the passenger seat, dude. I'm taking you home. He goes to get in my car, and he's like, he can't start it. He's like, dude, your car won't start. I was like, what? And he's freaking out because everybody else left, and now it's just me and him in the parking lot trying to get my car. I got out of the truck. I got out of my seat. Probably fell twice. Got in the driver's seat. Couple pumps, kick here, knock there, little headbutt, honk the horn. I got that son of a gun going. And I got right back out, walked over, got back in there, and got home. That day, though, I text everybody in my phone. Party at my house tonight. I'm ordering chicken wings. I ordered 200. I think I've told the story on this podcast before. I ordered 200 Mike's Mix wings from Wild Mike's. Called up, ordered. The next morning, you tried to come to the house because you texted me and said, hey, I got a voicemail from you like, hey, doesn't look like anything's going on at your house. So I'm just going to take off, I guess, because there's nobody was there because obviously we didn't have any people over because I crawled through my house and then crawled out the back door and puked in the back and slept until the next day. So we didn't have anybody over that night because it was a rough night. Okay. Anyway, you may or may not remember that, but I ordered 200 wings. I had 5 voicemails from Wild Mike's asking me when I was going to come pick these wings up. Because you just call an order, you don't pay for it.
Yeah.
To this day, when I call and order Wild Mike's, I call and I use my name, Chris, and I use my wife's phone number because I know somewhere back there they got my name and phone number on the wall. Like this dude calls, he's paying for them 200 wings from 10 years ago. I know it's going to happen. I just don't know when. The longer is 15 years ago. Jeez, Pete, that's forever ago. So anyway, that Saturn, but then so the Saturn. Oh man, I know I had 2 stories with the Saturn. So I got the car when I was 15. Okay, I didn't get my driver's license until I was 17. I failed my temps test when I was 15 and a half. I went with your brother. Your brother used my car.
Oh,
to take his temps test. Your dad and brother came with me. The first time I went to take my temps test, oh no, I'm sorry. I failed my written temps test, so I didn't get it. Your brother took my car to take the actual test. We both went. Me and Joey and your dad, and we got there, and you got to have a parent guardian with you. And your dad is not my parent or guardian.
Right.
My mom got there, and like it was too late. Like my appointment was over, and she was so mad at me because I didn't do the research to find out that she had to be there. She was so mad at me. That was when Joey turned 16.
Okay.
And then I had to wait again to take it later. So I didn't get it until I was well into my 17, well into like probably almost 18, 17 and a half probably. But when I was 15, maybe I was probably 16. So I didn't have anything. And we've talked about this before. I've played on a baseball team, and coach calls me up, assistant coach calls me up, and he's like, listen, I've coached baseball for a long time. I always give an MVP award out. But the head coach that he was coaching with, he said he didn't want to do MVPs or anything like that. But I got you a plaque. I got you something. I got you an award.
That's so cool.
It's it says to a special player, Chris Witt stole home 3 times in one season. So, and stole home, not went home on a pass ball, because that's not stealing home, people. If the ball gets by the catcher and then you go, that's not stealing home. Just so everybody understands that.
You went with when the ball was
I went as the dude was throwing. Yes. So besides the point, I was 16, didn't have my license. The car always sat in the same spot in front of the house. I drove everywhere. I drove my mom and dad everywhere. I drove that thing everywhere already at that point in time. It was in the middle of summer. It's about noon. I called the coach and I was like, yeah, I'll be over. Give me your address. I map quested where he was in Price Hill off beach. And I was like, well, it's right down the street from Elder. I know how to get to Elder. We can make this happen. And I got in that car and drove illegally, no license, over to pick that up. It was probably, I've never been more scared in my entire life. By myself. First time I'd ever drove by myself.
Wow.
Drove by myself from Delhi to Price Hill, picked that award up. Mom and Dad, this might be the first time you've ever heard the story. I apologize. Totally did that, and then parked it right back where it was, and then said that he dropped it off. Because he was like, well, you got to come get it, man. I don't have a car, because this was some old hillbilly that coached us. And I was like, yeah, man, no problem. I'll be there. I'll come over. That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, man.
There you go.
Great stories.
Yep. There you go.
That Saturn was great.
Saturn that was the best, man. It's so much fun with that. That Saturn. Oh, man. In high school, I had 3 offensive linemen, 2 offensive linemen, 1 defensive lineman in my car. 2 offensive linemen for Taylor, 1 defensive lineman for Elder, and me and Mike Little. And so we had 5 people in that little car. And when you got big boys in that car, it's a tight fit. We're coming down Rapid Run towards Sailor Park. It's a straight down a hill. I floored my brakes, and I didn't skid. It kept rolling. The tires were rolling. The brakes did not work. Like they could not stop us. I wasn't flying, but the brakes did not. And I'm like, crap. And there's a little old lady at the stop sign, and I see her, and I'm waving my hand at her. Like, I can't stop this car. Like, I couldn't stop it. And I'm waving at her, and she saw me, thank God, and stopped. And I rolled right through that whole stop sign intersection right there at Hillside and Rapid Run. Oh, man, Dad is going to get a hold of me after this podcast and be like, I've never heard all these.
Oh my God. I
had one of the worst. I had an accident. I hit a guy who had a brand new Buick. I was driving. It was raining. I'm coming down. It's a stop sign. You turn right onto Neeb. It's on Muddy Creek. Turn right, and my car didn't turn, and I just slid and ran into this dude at the stop sign. He still had the papers in his car. He literally just bought that vehicle.
Oh my God.
Hit that for almost a year. There was styrofoam from my bumper, because that's what the bumpers were made of in a Saturn, styrofoam. It's not a joke. 100% real. You could take that bumper, push it in, and it would just pop right back out. Made of styrofoam. The styrofoam was in that front yard for like almost a year. You could drive by the front yard there on that corner, and there was a piece of my bumper was there forever.
Wow.
Yep. There you go.
Wow. Man.
We could tell some
back in the day.
We could tell some old stories all day long.
We got to get Bobby Edwards on this thing again, because that's the guy with the stories.
I would like to hear his point of view about the wreck, and then walking up to say, "Don't drop the soap."
Yep.
I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, we got to get him on.
All right, we got to hurry up, dude. Let's get through this Sam Morril. What do you say?
Sam Morril.
Yep.
Sam Morril.
Same time tomorrow.
Same time tomorrow on Netflix. You want to go?
No, I don't care. Yeah, let's do it together, and then we'll read
it.
Okay. Listen. Sam Morril's a phenomenal comedian. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think this was his best special.
Okay.
I don't think it was like phenomenal, or like, I don't think out of the ones we've watched, I think we've watched 2 others, haven't we?
This is his 3rd one in 2 years.
Yeah. Like I don't think it was as good as those.
Okay.
There was a couple parts that I laughed pretty hard about, and they were all, he likes to toe the line. He likes to say some things that are a little out there, but it just didn't hit me as hard as his stuff usually does. I think I had such high hopes that I might have toned it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't, I watched it and they were good. His little, they're short jokes. They're usually quick, not super quick like Mark Norman or anything like that, but not drawn out. But they just weren't it wasn't nearly as funny as I think his last 2. The rooftop one I thought was great.
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm and once again, not like it's bad. I give it a 3.7.
Okay.
I don't think it's bad.
It's not bad.
But it's just not. I was expecting like a 4.4, 4.5, just like can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me that way.
Okay. Yeah. He did something on every topic you can think of.
Oh, 100%.
And all the
talk
big
about
ones.
getting canceled. That dude's getting canceled after this.
Sure.
I'm just kidding. He didn't say anything bad at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Holocaust, 9/11, abortion, anything.
I'll call this the Holocaust 9/11 abortion special. He's like, what is somebody gonna say? Oh, I'm really disappointed in that Holocaust abortion 9/11 special. I was expecting bigger things.
Yeah. You know what I noticed? 40 minutes.
Yeah, it was quick, dude.
40 minutes.
Quick.
Yeah. Normally it's an hour.
This is his 3rd one in 2 years, man. He's running out of material.
Yeah. He's a great joke writer, like you said, and I do always prefer that a little bit to the storytelling, comedians, the shorter, setup and punchline kind of thing. So I did like that stuff a lot. A lot of it was really, really good. I thought some of it was like, all right, you can, like, I know you can do
better. Yeah. Like you could have worked on that better. That joke the joke is great. And it could definitely have gone better.
To shoot that special, and a lot of people are doing this now, is shooting multiple night or multiple shows and then like editing them together to.
Oh, is that what he did?
7 shows they shot.
He wore the exact same thing.
He wore the same thing for 7 consecutive shows. They shot them all.
I never would have known that.
He said most of it is from one show, but I guess a little bit of it, I don't know, maybe he told a joke a little bit better than the night before or something like that. So that was interesting. I gave it a 4.1.
Okay.
4.1.
Yeah, it was good.
Not too far from you.
Yeah, it was good. I would suggest people to listen to it. The thing with Jesse and his buddies was different and weird, but it was good.
Absolutely. Next week we have a comedy special and Mount Rushmore, of course. I have the Mount Rushmore, you have the comedy special.
Mm-hmm.
Mount Rushmore for next week is going to be the Mount Rushmore of superpowers.
Whoa, superpowers.
So
Is this superpowers that are out there? Like you could read a comic book and there's you got to like name the superhero who has the superpower.
I don't think so. I think you can take them from already existing superheroes with powers, or if you can think of a superpower, I think that qualifies as well.
Okay.
Your top 4 superpowers.
Okay. I like it. All right.
And
I've got what do you call it? Comedy
special.
for this week. Oh, real quick. Let's just say RIP David A. Arnold.
David A. Arnold, man.
We just did his special last week. Adam calls me. David A. Arnold died the day we were critiquing his special.
Unbelievable.
Last Wednesday.
Man.
But what did we give him last Wednesday for specials? What did we do?
It was
I gave him a 4.3. You gave him a 3.9.
3.9. Yeah.
4.3. That's a huge score.
Yeah.
That dude worked his butt off for a long time. And man,
he was good. We talked about it. We loved that was the big thing. The family stuff he did at the end of that special.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So think about that. All that family is around right now. He just did this special. Just hit it big. And he passes away.
That's crazy.
2
teenage daughters, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think they're.
Yep.
I mean, terrible. What a terrible thing. And not, I don't know that anybody knows what it was. I guess heart attack or whatever.
I haven't really heard
causes
anything or looked at it.
they
Yeah,
say.
they literally said natural
Only
causes.
54 years old.
What kind of natural causes at 54? I don't know.
Yeah.
But man, David A. Arnold, that's a bummer, dude. Yes, and then it was the day on Wednesday, the day we were talking about him, man. The day we were critiquing his special.
His body was still warm and we were talking about his special.
Oh man, did we kill David A. Arnold? Is that too soon?
My dad said we did.
Your dad said that? Yeah. We killed David.
Yep.
And did we? I just talked today about how many times my dad had to stop me at a Xavier game one time because every time I talked to somebody, I was killing somebody. Told that story before too. I couldn't ask somebody about somebody in their family without them being dead, and it was the worst day of my life. David A. Arnold, rest in peace. So, but for next week, new guy, never heard of him, no idea who he is. I don't know if you have.
Exciting.
Shang Wang.
Okay, yeah.
Sweet and Juicy. You probably heard of him because he's probably a comedian that's on every comedian podcast or something like that.
No, I've seen this. I've seen that this was on Netflix, and I was listening to a podcast earlier yesterday, I think it was, and a couple comedians mentioned him.
Also, see that this was the one I was going to do. I forgot about this. Joe Coy just came out with a new one too. I love Joe Coy. Yeah, Joe Coy came out live from Los Angeles Forum, but you know what? I'm going with Shang Wang, Sweet and Juicy. Kind of a hippie Asian looking character.
There it is. We've got our Mount Rushmore and our comedy for next week.
We gotta get out of here, dude. We've done this way longer than it needed to be.
Yeah.
Oh man, I apologize for rambling on and on and on and on and on.
Oh, my truck accident Bobby birthday story was
the greatest story
forever.
to ever hit the podcast.
Took forever. Anyway.
All right. So Shang Wang, superpowers, sports. Till next week. Don't forget to turn your headlights on.